A few days ago, Kamala Harris sat down for an interview with Bret Baier, uh, her first with Fox, and I have to admit, I think she handled it about as well as she could have. Now, if you go in the comments section, and I have to also give Fox credit for posting the full unedited interview as one video. Don't be like stupid CNN where they're so greedy. They put up part one, part two, part three of the Harris Walsh interview they did, a month ago or whenever it was. The comment section of the video is illustrative. There are it seems like the left wing people are complaining that she was interrupted over and over, which they're not wrong, and the right wing people are admitting that she said Trump's name repeatedly. The two biggest takeaways from this are again that she's doing more interviews, and she didn't just do an interview; she did one with Fox. Commentators like Mark Levin, who infamously said that Harris just goes before the clapping seals, they're going to be quiet about this, or they're going to, you know, now move over to saying something else. And she also stated at one point that her administration would not be a continuation of Biden's, which is a very important differentiation for her to make because a lot of people have been criticizing her by saying, look, if we didn't want or like or be excited by another 4 years of Biden, why would we want another 4 years of his vice president, who we believe will, in succeeding him, carry on many of the same policies that we have a problem with? And I think it's a valid critique. Now, one thing that she said that kind of annoyed me was when Bear asked her, well, if Trump is so bad, why is he, has such a realistic possibility of winning the election, and why are there, millions and millions of people that want to vote for him? And Bear at one point asked Harris, kind of like belligerently, "Are you calling them stupid?" And Harris is like, "No, of course, I would never insult the voters." See, this is something where I believe her a better response would have been, "No, I'm not insulting them, but also if you want to point out or note someone that has insulted voters, you can go look at Trump's remarks where." I believe it was some months back. He said any Jewish person that voted for Biden should be ashamed of themselves. And of course, I did a video on it recently, him saying that blacks and Hispanics who don't support him need their head examined. Just really beyond the pale stuff in terms of, and again, I've mentioned, as someone who watches this stuff regularly, has seen a whole bunch of Trump rallies, you can go back to Trump from 2016 and even to a lesser degree 2020, and he didn't talk this way. And I think that is going to, if it doesn't cost him the election, it will turn off some independent voters and people. Because I said before, a lot of these groups, they're not feeling Harris the way that they did Obama or Biden, but they're still not committed to voting for the Republicans. They're kind of, just, they're the kind of people who, if they don't like either candidate, they might just sit out and not even bother. So that's one aspect of it. Now she mentioned Trump's immigration, or I guess his opposition to Trump's immigration to the Biden administration's immigration proposal, and him like stomping it out. And I said before, Republicans, if they're not incentivized by it being an election year, and the fact that this is Trump's signature issue, they can be bipartisan. I just don't think that you're going to get them to actually do anything about the border for the foreseeable future. I think if Harris wins, we're going to spend anywhere from 4 to possibly 8 years hearing from Republicans about how the Harris administration has failed on the border and their proposals do not go far enough in cracking down, all the usual stuff of people that don't want to actually fix anything. They just want stuff to run on. But what I thought was so interesting about the interview, right, is that it comes at a time where we are weeks away from this election. Um, I've said I don't know definitively who's going to win. I think it's too close to call. But Harris just, I wish she would acknowledge actual problems of Biden's tenure. And this, I guess, this is one of the reasons why sitting vice presidents tend to not get elected. Any problems that people are feeling with the incumbent, you have to kind of like tactfully dodge and not, not position yourself as being with. Inflation is a serious issue. The prices of things are up. It's it's not something to ignore. And she talks about her opportunity economy, right? But what are you going to do to lower the cost of basic utilities? That is something that she should be more forthright with. And as long as that issue continues to not really be addressed by her directly, like, yeah, this she's like, oh, here's my economic plan. Yeah, but what specifically do you have proposed to deal with inflation? As long as she does not deal with that, she is going to continue to hurt herself in these last couple of weeks. But it is funny, all the people saying she was so afraid to do interviews. She's now done, what, 5, 6? Right, with ABC, with CNN, now with Fox. I mean, it's... How many more does she need to do? Like, I had the same complaint, but we always have to keep in mind that this campaign, her campaign, has only existed for the last 3 months, 4 months. And she seems to have put herself more out there. In the end, I think if she loses, it will be a combination of a refusal to address a lot of economic stuff, the baggage of Biden's tenure, the fact that she is definitely not as charismatic as either Obama or Biden. But I don't think it'll be because of these interviews. I think this interview only helps her, and it boosts her because it's another example of, oh, you're too afraid to go on Fox. Like, guys, the truth is, any left wing, and I use that term loosely when I'm talking about these Democrats, but any left wing adjacent politician that goes on Fox can expect a couple of things. They're going to ask you some kind of like gotcha question. You support free college, but what do you say to the people who paid their way and paid back their debts? This is unfair to them. They're going to give you these like ridiculous framings and whatnot. You just have to put up with that, answer the questions, and let the viewers decide from there. It's really not that scary to go in a hostile interview setting. It's actually kind of funny because when you talk about raising taxes on the rich, right, Harris goes and says, oh, the rich need to pay their fair share. You're going to get pushback from every major network because they're all bought by people who are rich. So it's not, Fox really is not doing anything different than CNN or MSNBC would have done other than just bootlicking for Trump, which, I mean, that's, him and Bush have been their bread and butter for the last 20 years. So it's not really that surprising. But yeah, she handled herself well, I think. And we'll see if this interview actually hurts her or not. I don't think it will, though.